Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that every supermarket is empty, every restaurant is closed, every food delivery app has stopped working. There is nothing to eat, not just for a day, not just for a week, but for weeks. What would happen? For ancient humans, this was a thought experiment. It was a reality. Thousands of times throughout history, entire groups woke up and faced a terrifying possibility. What if there isn't enough food today? No backup plan, no emergency supplies, no refrigerators, no grocery stores, just hunger. The consequences could be devastating. But here's the surprising part. Ancient humans didn't simply starve whenever food became scarce. Instead, they developed remarkable survival strategies that helped our species survive some of the harshest environments on Earth. May still be hidden inside your body today.
When we picture ancient humans, it's easy to imagine successful hunts and abundant food. But reality was far less predictable. A hunting trip could fail. A storm could scare away animals. A drought could destroy edible plants. An entire region could suddenly become barren. For much of human history, food wasn't guaranteed. Every meal depended on the environment. And the environment could change without warning. Imagine spending an entire day searching for food, walking miles through forests and grasslands, only to return empty-handed, then waking up the next morning and doing it all again. For ancient humans, this wasn't unusual. In many places, periods of food scarcity were simply part of life. And when food disappeared, the human body began a remarkable transformation. Most people think hunger immediately makes the body weaker, and eventually it does, but not at first. In the early stages of food shortage, the human body switches into survival mode. Energy is used more carefully. Stored fat begins to provide fuel. The body starts prioritizing essential functions. This adaptation was incredibly important. If humans became weak the moment food disappeared, our species might never have survived. Instead, evolution favored individuals who could keep moving, keep searching, keep hunting, even while hungry. In other words, the body was designed to help humans survive temporary shortages. But hunger affects more than muscles. It changes the brain itself. And what happens next is fascinating. At first, this might sound strange. How could a lack of food improve anything? But consider the situation from an evolutionary perspective. Imagine an ancient human who becomes tired, sleepy, and unfocused whenever food runs out. Their chances of finding food would decrease. Now imagine another person. When food becomes scarce, they become more alert, more observant, more motivated to search. Which person is more likely to survive? Scientists believe that moderate hunger can increase attention and focus. The brain becomes highly interested in anything related to food. Every berry bush, every animal track, every unusual sound. Suddenly, the environment becomes full of clues. For ancient humans, hunger wasn't just a physical sensation. It was a powerful signal demanding action. But despite these adaptations, there was a limit. Eventually, food had to be found. So what happened when the search failed again and again? When food became scarce for extended periods, ancient humans often faced difficult choices. Groups might move to new territory. Families could travel long distances. Entire communities sometimes abandoned familiar regions. Imagine leaving behind a place where you've lived for years, not because you want to, but because staying means starvation. Throughout history, humans have repeatedly migrated in search of food and resources. Some of the greatest journeys in human history may have begun with a simple problem. There wasn't enough to eat. The search for food pushed people across mountains, across deserts, across continents. In many ways, hunger helped shape the map of human civilization. But movement wasn't the only strategy. Ancient humans also relied on something even more powerful: each other. Humans are not the fastest animals. We aren't the strongest. We don't have claws or fangs. So, how did we survive repeated food shortages? One answer is cooperation. When food became scarce, humans often shared information. Someone knew where water could be found. Someone remembered a hidden food source. Someone had experience surviving previous shortages. Knowledge became a survival tool. Stories became survival tools. Communities became survival tools. A single person facing starvation is vulnerable. A group working together is far more resilient. This ability to cooperate may be one of humanity's greatest advantages, and it helped ancient humans survive situations that would have destroyed many other species. But perhaps the most surprising part of the story is what hunger may have done to human intelligence itself. For countless generations, finding food was humanity's most important challenge. Every day presented problems that needed solving. Where the animals, which plants are safe? Which route uses the least energy? How can food be stored? How can be shared? The people who solved these problems survived. The people who didn't often face serious consequences. Over thousands of generations, this constant pressure rewarded creativity, planning, memory, communication. problem solving. Some researchers believe that the challenges of finding food played a major role in shaping the human brain. In a strange way, some of humanity's greatest abilities may have emerged because food was difficult to find. The next time you open a refrigerator, consider how unusual that experience would seem to an ancient human. For most of history, food wasn't waiting nearby. It had to be found, earned, tracked, remembered, and sometimes desperately searched for. Yet despite droughts, failed hunts, harsh winters, and endless uncertainty, humans survived, not because we were the strongest species, but because we adapted, we cooperated, we kept searching. And perhaps that's the most important lesson ancient hunger left behind. When resources disappeared and survival seemed uncertain, humans didn't give up. They became more resourceful, more creative, and more determined. The story of ancient hunger isn't really a story about starvation. It's a story about why humanity survived it all. Because when food disappeared, humans found a way forward.